The only real hope and change you'll ever get is from God. It's going to come from the Lord, or it's not going to come at all. It's going to come when you admit that you can't do it and that you've got to have His help.
Let me ask you a couple questions that you can maybe clear up for us. We do have reports that as many as 100 U.S. service members were injured in some of the attacks by Iran and several different U.S. military bases in the Middle East, and that's right here printed in front of me. Is this report true?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I also have a government insider that sent me an email about an hour ago, and I just want to read this to you and get your feedback. Iran is mobilizing ground troops and armored units toward the border with Kuwait. Recently, members of the Iranian parliament have openly declared intentions to invade countries hosting U.S. military bases and seize these installations by force. Any U.S. military personnel captured by the Iranian army will be taken back to Iran. I guess my first question is to you, Mike. Is there Iranian ground troops mobilized and armored units headed toward the border of Kuwait?
Well, they are positioning. For about the last 72 hours, there's been a lot of movement over there.
Okay.
Right. And I would say not only towards Kuwait, but these guys they're going to make a day of days from, what's been happening. They're going to double their efforts in every way they can for some sort of maximum blow. So I would say that report is they're doing things just like that. You have a lot of folks stirred up from the death of the Khomeini, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're really stirred up. To them, it was like killing a father image.
Yes, it was big.
Yep. So
is that why behind me you see President Trump in a coffin? This billboard is in the middle of Tehran, Iran.
Isn't that's crazy, isn't it? That is crazy. That's what they desire to.
That's what they want.
That's what they want.
Mike,
that's exactly what they want.
I know you had the dream on the coffin, and I know how that dream went for you, but just to clear it up a little bit so that people know, the dream you had about somebody specifically in a coffin, can you confirm or deny whether that was President
Trump?
It
wasn't when Trump was not in that coffin.
No.
But it was he was not, thankfully. But these guys want him gone. They really do want him gone. So they want him gone.
So in other words, even though you had the dream of a significant individual in the coffin, and I know who that individual is, I'm not going to say it tonight because I don't want to freak everybody out. But even though that President Trump wasn't in the coffin, in the dream, you did see a very significant individual in a coffin. And the fact that these guys are pushing for Trump, does that bring alarm to you?
Yeah, it does. Because they're, when they do saber rattling, right? But right now, that's not what they're doing. These guys are active in plots and everything else. And the sad part is you have a lot of people in just about every single nation who have loyalties to Iran.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And they have outreach happening. It would not surprise me if they increase their efforts in trying to take, because they've been trying to take them out.
Yeah,
they've been trying to get in position, I guess you could say. Now, of course, they're not going to publish all the attempts and everything they've interrupted, but it's a lot of pressure these guys operate under in Washington. A lot of pressure.
Mike, you have told us to not underestimate Iran. You have said it repeatedly. You better not underestimate these guys. They got a whole lot more in their arsenal than what you think, and they got a whole lot more military operational plans, most of it terroristic. I mean, they are really they are focused, and now they're going after the U.S. military bases in several countries.
Yeah.
And the Strait of Hormuz is still in their bullseye, and you got to deal with Oman. And what about this report that the Houthi rebels out of Yemen are going to do a blockade on Saudi Arabia? Is that possible? Can they do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They can disrupt quite a bit. I think that this is where people should be aware that this should, if Iran was so insignificant, all of this would have been over by now, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But it really, people have to remember there are other nations have tried to subdue Iran and they failed miserably.
Yeah.
Every single time it has cost them something. And you know what, just tonight I was discussing that America is a country based on Christianity, but Iran is a country with a very dark principality that operates in that place. So you have the youngest country in the world with Christianity against a very ancient nation with a very dark principality. You're just not going to defeat that with sheer raw power. It's not going to happen. You're dealing with something that is not conventional all the way, right? So there are other things involved. And, in this type of conflict, you're going to have, they call it the spooky stuff is going to follow them all the time. Russia was cursed when they messed with them.
Yeah.
The USA caught part of that curse when we messed with them. And I believe primarily that's because of an ancient principality that operates in that area. And you're not going to defeat that type of enemy with conventional, with sheer power. It doesn't matter what you have. You're not going to defeat it without something that can handle the principality. The only thing that's going to handle that principality is Christ.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
So that means if we continue to clash with this nation, right, we're going to need to be blessed to go in there and do that. You just can't do that on a whim. It's just not going to work. It'll drag out and become a Vietnam is what will happen. And it will just suck up resources from the USA. We already have fuel problems. They don't want to admit to, right? And then we have strategic reserves. It's going to hit its limit. When we get down so far in fuel, it'll hit a limit where they will cut off the reserves. They have to reserve the rest for the military, lest we become a defenseless nation, right? We can't do that. And right now, we're at the lowest we've been for a very long time, right? A very, very long time, which is, that's just not good. I know everything the Lord showed me, Pastor Paul. Something happened to the fuel in every single dream because the grass was up to my head.
What?
Or up to my chest level, yeah. In every single dream that the Lord has shown me, something was wrong with the fuel because no grass was cut. The grass was wild. The grass was about 4.5 feet tall. I'll say 4.5 feet. Some of the stalks were up to about 6 or 7 feet. And, but that means nobody cut the grass. The power was still on and nobody came out at night. Nobody was driving. You couldn't hear an engine anywhere. All you could hear were noises coming from inside of houses on occasion, but nothing was operating that ran by fuel. In all those dreams, something happened to the fuel. And here we are with Iran. They're causing a disruption with the fuel.
Amen.
And we're down in our reserves. And again, once they get down so far, Pastor Paul, right? Those reserves are not going to be for civilians.
No.
They're going to reserve the rest for the military, which means abruptly they're going to have if it continues, they're going to have no choice but to cut off supplies to us, which means, I wouldn't be,
rationing.
You can
and
tell
high,
the output
sky high prices and rationing would
they're going to have no choice, because if they don't shut off the supply line to civilians, our military is going to be in great jeopardy, and we can't afford that right now. Too many nations are after us.
Mike, another question for you. This is another report that came out. It says Iran is claiming that Jordanian soldiers and Jordanian civilians provided the intelligence to help Iran strike this base. Now, to me, I'm not really sure I'm going to buy that, but tell me what you think. Of course, you did say you can't trust the Jordanians. I know.
Yeah, you know my stance with that. You know my stance with that.
So tell us what you think about that, Mike.
Well, Jordan is the academic leg of Muslims in the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
So it is the academic center. if it's the academic center is going to be loyal to the Islamic cause above all things. Now, I may not publicize that, but that's what will happen. And you do have people in Jordan that are going to work. See, they already said it was 15 years ago in the Middle East, 15, 20 years ago in the Middle East. It was a conversation that was had with many different leaders in many different nations. They all said the same thing. If war broke out, they would side with the Islamic world.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, they already said this, and they said this to a U.S. president, right? They're just telling him bluntly.
To his face.
They confirmed it. They confirmed it again, not more than probably about 13 years ago. So we know if something happens in the Middle East, and anybody who fights Iran, that is considered fighting one of the strong legs of Islam, right? In Iran, whether they admit it or not. These Islamic nations, they will always see Iran as a brother, and they may have a problem with them, right? But they still see Iran as a brother when it comes to the faith. And so if something is happening, and the world has no choice but to get involved now, right?
Yep.
It has this will draw the rest of the world in with it, because now they have hit the supply lines dealing with fuel. This affects everybody, especially Europe. It affects everybody. And they can't afford to go into the winter with this type problem. So they're going to try something drastic. They cannot go into the winter with this problem, because then there would be mass death. I mean, mass death.
This is, and we have the United Nations coming up, of course, in September. We've already got the New York City Mayor, Zohan Mandami, saying he would like to see if he could arrest Benjamin Netanyahu and send him to the Hague for war crimes. He's looking into his legal opportunities, he says, which is just a pure threat at Israel. The same time that Iran is threatening Israel. And the same time Iran has 3 coffins in this billboard: President Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Lindsey Graham. Now, they're feeding off of the Lindsey Graham death, unless they had something to do with the Lindsey Graham death. And Mike, I mean, he was in Ukraine, but have you heard anything?
They have a presence in the Ukraine. I think the Ukraine-Russia situation is some of the elements are unknown. There's a huge Islamic influence with Russia right now, right? And likewise, there are components of that same mentality in the Ukraine. So that could easily be done. And they do have ways to cause aneurysms, right? There's a substance they can put on a doorknob. It does not look like a toxin in the body, but if you touch it, it will cause some sort of a brain aneurysm, right? Which is a natural form of death. So that means no one's going to be able to tell through a toxicology that any chemicals were involved. It's just going to look normal.
Can they call Mike? Can they use these this on a doorknob or a handshake? Can it cause a stroke? Can it cause a?
Yeah, absolutely. They have things that can stop the human heart that are essentially untraceable, right? Untraceable.
Wow.
You touch it one time and you're done. That's it. And you're done.
So it's really possible that the Russians may have used someone in Ukraine when Lindsey Graham was there, because of course Lindsey Graham, being certainly a hawk, wanting to get to Putin, wanting to get to Russia, he come home from Ukraine and died in 20 minutes after he walked in the house. So I mean, it could have been on his doorknob, right, when he got home.
Yeah. Plus, you also have operatives in the Ukraine that have been operating in the Ukraine that are loyal to Russia and Iran. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Mm-hmm. People, saboteurs, right? So you have them over there. They still don't know who they are. So they've been operating, doing things, and
I mean,
it's a messy
Lindsey
situation.
Graham was over there and he's been going back and forth out of there. He's been over there touring different locations, meeting with different people, military people, touring factories, drone, missile factories. I mean, he obviously was fully committed to trying to take down Vladimir Putin or to stop Russia's invasion. But what he may not realize is, as you just said, there's operatives that are in Ukraine that are for the Russians. I mean, look, Ukraine was under the Soviet Union for many, many years, under the former Soviet Union.
Until Chernobyl, yeah.
So, all right. Now, Mike, while we're talking about this, there was I'm going to go back to Netanyahu in a second, but in New York City, there was an anti-government extremist set off an incendiary device outside of a federal building in New York, which was actually an ICE building. 3 people were injured in this. Kash Patel is all over this. I mean, is this just internal Democrat reaction, or we got something else going on?
No, you've got that. New York City right now has been in those people who are in New York City, who are loyal to the causes of the Islamic world, have been emboldened. Period. They have been emboldened. Right? You're going to see more of that. In fact, I would go so far as to say that should this continue more than 4 more months, you're going to see an even greater exodus out of New York. Right? You're looking at forced policies that are about to be approved. You're looking at people who are going to lose. It's just not going to be the New York that it used to be. It's just not going to be.
Well, they're losing people like crazy, Mike, because of the taxation, and now this crazy socialist.
It's going to be larger.
Socialist, communist.
Yeah, it's going to be larger because now we're coming into a time where the winter is really going to cause some issues. So I would not be shocked if it turns into like a third world type deal in New York.
Well, okay, let's talk about this. Why would the winter be? Tell us why the winter would be.
Because they're putting right now. They're going to put control mechanisms on gas, on water, on all those utilities. Stupid. Right. So when they do this, they're going to essentially embolden people who take advantage of rental properties and things like that. They're going to be stuck in these locations. You're going to see a diversion of resources going to them. We're already going to be short in some. And I suspect that we're also going to face saboteurs in the rest of the country. But specifically in New York, many of them will gravitate towards New York, right? To operate in New York free. Yeah. It's going to become a bigger problem than what it is right now. And when the winter time comes, Pascal, that's when people normally get exposed to. That's when the death rate increases.
Right.
In New York. Right.
Right.
It'll really increase now because what they're doing right now is not sustainable.
Well,
they're going to in another month and a half, they're going to be out of money. They won't be able to subsidize what they're subsidizing now. It's just not going to work.
So the power's going to get turned off. People are going to have no heat. They're going to have no power. The homeless population is going to explode. Who's going to fund all that?
They're going to make up they're going to redirect resources is what they're going to do.
Then
right now, the bookwork is so complicated, right? There's no balancing anything. It's a bunch of numbers on paper. What will eventually happen, though, is that the imported resources to New York, people are going to have the books on those, and they're simply not going to be able to pay for that, for any more to come in. And that's when you're going to see the feedback from what's been happening all this time. It'll take a few months, but when the winter hits, we're going to see the feedback from what's been happening all this time.
Is it Trump's fault? Is there anything he can do? Anything he did wrong? Or what?
No, because of our election process, right? We have free elections, and the people wanted a socialist, communist person, so they got one, right? That's what the people wanted. That's what they received.
Well, how long are they going to put up with that guy if they're sitting in the cold and they have nothing to eat and they can't? There's no free buses. They were told they would be free.
Oh, but wait, it's not going to stop there.
Okay.
What happened in New York will replicate itself in other cities.
Okay, talk to us. What cities are we going in? We're going to
got
Chicago?
more people lining. You got more people lining up that are just like Mandami, right? Okay. So it'll be Mandamis or Mandamis in New York. They'll be all over the place.
Well, I'm going to use that one. I had that Sunday when I was preaching. I would have sure used that one, Mundummies, but okay. Well, I mean, we do have the Dick Durbin over there in Illinois. We have the, Chicago. We have Detroit. We have Atlanta. We have Los Angeles and that bunch over there, and Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom and that whole bunch out there. I mean, we've got some problems, right? Minnesota. Don't forget Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. You know what though, Pascal? The people, that's what the people want. That lets you know a bigger problem is at bay. If the people want a person like that, then the people have no idea of what it takes to establish a country like this. They don't know. They've lost that knowledge, just lost, right? What I think should happen is they really do need to use everything in their power to educate people on the struggle of creating this nation and the sheer death toll it took. Because to establish something like this nation, you're going to have different types of people. The same problems that we had in the past, they're going to have again to establish this again. To learn to value each other, you have to go through a struggle, or you will not value each other. So they're doomed to repeat some of the same things again in hyper time. That it really tells me that these people who have voted for these folks, they don't understand the struggle, so they're primed to follow someone who literally looks just like the beast, right? Somebody who operates like the beast in the Bible, who would have the ideologies of force, to force people to do things. That's what everything's coming down to. They're going to gravitate away from voting. It'll be a true system where nobody votes. Just everybody, falls in line and survives, or whatever they do. But we see it in real time, something that's spreading. And there are more candidates who are socialists who are coming out of the walls. They're coming out the woodwork.
It's crazy.
So we know they're going to be everywhere. And that's what the populace, they cannot win if the populace does not want them.
Right.
That is the problem. So it's not the people running, it's the people voting.
People voting.
Right? So that means they're not educated in the struggle. They don't know what a socialist truly is.
No, they don't.
They don't know what a communist truly is.
No, they don't.
Right? So somebody with a lot of money needs to start producing things to show people the difference between the two. To educate people on what they are.
Now, when we talk about education and talk about, was it ever explained the last 25 years what a communist was in our high schools and our colleges? Was it ever explained?
No.
Okay.
No.
What about in the United Kingdom? Did anybody tell them? Because they just put in Andy Burnham. He's going to burn the UK down by the time that guy's done. This guy is worse than Mondami, and he's now the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and he got the blessing from King Charles.
Because they a peacemaker does not compromise. That if you compromise to make peace, what you're doing is surrendering.
It's appeasement.
Way of life
it's called appeasement
to somebody else. Yeah, that's not a peacemaker.
No.
To compromise, to throw down your value system, something that took too long. Because again, you're going to have to go through the same process, just like a household. You get a bunch of strangers in a house, they're going to fight. They're going to have their moments where they don't talk to each other. You got to work through all of that to get to the point where everybody can look at each other and respect who people are. It takes a crises, it takes war, it takes a lot to get to that point. We've gone through all that, and they're willing to throw it all away because they don't know you have to go through that to truly establish a relationship. They don't know that. They don't know about relationship. And have you noticed in this world, that's the first thing they attacked was a relationship.
Yeah, you're right. So when you said it's going to take somebody with a lot of money, now we've had a guy with a lot of money, and that was Donald Trump. And you saw how difficult it's been for him to rise to this level. Is there anybody else coming up in the ranks that can pull this off?
They need to go to Hollywood. If you want to reach these kids out here, right? We need someone that's in the video game industry, someone in the entertainment industry, right? To really produce movies that show people what communism truly is. What the difference between socialism and republic and all these different things. Largely, they've been misrepresenting what America truly is, right?
Yep.
Because all you hear is racism when you talk about America.
I know.
And then, Pastor Paul, the leadership fights so much what is a person going to think of this nation? I'd be if children in the house only heard their parents argue, right? That child is going to be broken. That's going to be considered a broken home. The child comes out, he wants nothing to do with anything his parents represented. So he's going to go to a strange thing, and it will consume that child. And we see that happening all over the world. So, somebody's going to have to lay down some sort of gavel, have an agreement, say, listen, we can't act like this in front of the American people anymore. We're going to have to do it a different way.
Now, do you think that, now I want to say that McDummy, let's say, now if he's a dummy, but is he a dummy? Or is he a plant by a...
You said it.
When you start talking about communists, the naked communists, if you ever read the Naked Communists in 1958, it tells you how to take over a country. It's got 10 points.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, so these AOC and McDummy and all these people, they're plants. They're not stupid. They are here to destroy America. Can I say that? Can I say that with a straight face? Yes. Mike, am I right? They're here to destroy America. They're not that stupid. They can't be that stupid.
And you know what? Here's what I believe.
Okay.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay.
I believe they actually believe in what they're doing.
Oh, my
So that
Lord.
makes this...
That's worse.
Makes this a
That's
spiritual
worse.
problem, though.
That's even worse.
We're looking at spiritual coordination of something, right? For a long time, Pastor Paul, there have been, you hear of witchcraft and secret societies and all this, but in truth, we see a spiritual darkness that's been at work in this nation for some time, and it's been just unchecked.
Okay, so let's go with your thought, and that is, instead of they were just hired guns to destroy America, let's go with your theory that they are blinded and that they actually believe in what they're doing, which is even worse.
Yep, there you go.
Because they'll do anything for the cause.
There you go.
Oh,
that's why they're fighting so hard.
Yeah.
Can't you see in their faces?
Yeah.
They're very passionate behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a difference between somebody who's recruited to do something like that versus somebody who actually believes in what they're doing. And I believe they believe in what they're doing.
I think you're right. Now that I think this through, I think you're right, because they are willing to lay on the altar, literally to sacrifice whatever they got to do to make this happen. And this means it's a demonic force. It's a darkness. It's a spiritual wickedness in high places. It is principalities and powers.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's talk about principalities and powers. Isn't that what the United States is dealing and Israel are dealing with right now in the Middle East? Principalities and powers beyond our comprehension, I think.
Yeah, it does. And I've had a disturbing insight into that, and I pray to God that does not happen in my time. But I don't want it to happen in anybody else's time either. I was at the airport. Yeah, I was at the airport in this. Now, mind you, I was not sleeping when this happened, right? I was standing, and I went into some other zone or something. But I was at an airport, and I'm looking around, just looking around at people. All of a sudden, without speaking, people began to do coordinated things from all races, from all walks of life. It's like something kicked in, and they began to work on this highly coordinated level. So I was told to get in a cab and leave. But I hesitated. And so guess what happened?
What happened?
There was no cab for me. These folks are not playing. And so then I was told to go into a house. So they disregarded me, who I was, everything, and told me to go into the house and shut the door. They told everybody that. Everybody you could see began to work in a coordinated effort without talking to one another. So I went in this house, and at first everybody was like, what's happening? Nobody could go outside, right? There was the people doing this, there was a U.S. soldier involved, 2 U.S. soldiers involved. There was a homeless person involved working with the U.S. soldiers who were working with the senator and a cab driver, right? So people from all walks of life operating in a coordinated fashion. So we're inside, and all of a sudden the TV went to nothing. There was a television in there. This old lady was in this place, and her son was in there, and the TV went to nothing. Then they opened the door, and they pointed to the guy, and they told the guy to stand up and come forward. Well, he hesitated. So they ripped him out of that chair, drug him outside, screaming and hollering, right? And they shut the door. And when they went outside, you didn't hear screaming and hollering anymore. Nobody knew anything. Nobody knew a thing. Nobody knew anything. And they were operating like this all throughout America.
So
just all of a sudden, in an instant, it's like something switched in these people. And they began to operate in a coordinated fashion. And no, they did not speak to one another. They did not. They didn't. Now, after that dream had ended, or that whatever it was, because I was standing on my feet.
Yeah,
so
it's called an open vision, is what that's called.
Yeah, I can't call that a dream.
Right.
But there was a bit of understanding given to me that these people were operating on a spiritual level even they didn't understand. They didn't even, they're
blinded.
Actions,
so in other words, they're being overtaken and blinded by the spiritual.
Their normal actions were coordinated, and they were working together, effectively against everybody else. Everybody else. They weren't even aware that they were, fully aware of what they were doing, but they did what they did. Fast. You didn't have time to respond to half of them, right? So it was these guys were operating by something that was just spooky altogether, right? It was just spooky.
Wow. Well, and now as we're talking about this, Mike,
they were brutal.
This is not good, folks. Not good. Mike, what's going to happen to the United Kingdom? They're going to leave this guy in as prime minister at least 2 years. Let's say maybe 3 or 4. But with all of the Sharia law stuff that they got going on and all of the craziness, is it over?
They're going to see. They'll wake up. You know what? I can see a good 20 million out there gone, just gone. They're too vulnerable. They are. They're too vulnerable. They're too entrusting of ways that have been. And even right now, if they wanted to enhance security, they couldn't. They've lost control of too many places.
Does the Church of UK, does the United Kingdom, the Church of Jesus Christ, is it strong enough to even deal with this? Do they have enough Christians there now?
No. I think people are they're going to have a disastrous. You think our 9/11 was bad, right?
It's coming.
It won't compare to what they have.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Compare it to it.
All right, now the United States. Is Trump going to get through this? Is he going to make it? Is he going to live through this administration, this 4 years?
I don't know.
That's scary. That's really scary, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can't guarantee
I know
it.
There's a pressure with them, right? That is unbelievable pressure.
Yep.
Unbelievable pressure. And so, I don't know. One slip up and a different type cavalry gets through. They already know there are multiple attempts on him almost continuously. One slip up and that's it. That's it. One slip up.
Today they arrested 3 guys. These guys are lone wolves and probably not capable. But one was arrested for making a video on TikTok, one for making it on Facebook, and one on Rumble. Now, they've arrested them, and I'm sure they're sitting in a little chair with a light bulb over their head. But, I've had several death threats against me and Trump. Like people would, contact me and say, we're going to kill you and Trump. And, when that happens, that goes to I send that immediately to the Secret Service. I just don't even play it. And then I don't hear from those guys anymore. But we know there's some weird people out there, but there's more than just that. There's a concentrated effort. Assassin teams, are they? And is it more than just Iran that are trying to figure out a way to kill the president?
You have folks over here from a variety of countries who are biding their time. But I tell you what, personally, I wouldn't trust anybody. I would not. The USA is not liked by any nation out there. Who likes us?
Nobody.
Who likes us?
Nobody
Name
likes
one
us.
nation that likes
Maybe
USA.
Israel. Israel's about it, right?
Yeah, if Benjamin Netanyahu stays in there.
Yeah, there you go.
See, something is coming, and I hope people can see this. When the leaders change, the nations we once knew will no longer be. It just won't be anymore.
That's dangerous, and that's true for America.
Yep, we're looking at a countdown clock, and we're there. You know, we're watching this thing. It's counting down. We know that there's going to be a leadership change, and when this happens, wow, because I think the voices of the people in America are calling for anything but what we've had.
It's going to be a mistake.
A long time ago, I told you something. I said, before a new system is installed, they must present the old system as a failure.
As a failure. Yes, you have. You said
must
that.
do that.
You're right.
And so what have we been watching? What have we been watching? Slowly but surely, what have we been watching?
The crumbling of confidence in the current structure. We got to our 250 years, didn't we? We made it to 250. But, man, they're trying to burn the house down, aren't they?
And there's a similar call in America and in Israel, right?
Yep.
They need something new. That's the call. You know, we need something new. And that's exactly what's coming.
I'm just wondering, as we go forward here, Mike, there is going to be, and oh, by the way, while all this is going on, let's not forget that the sun is blowing up, the seas are rising, the magma's rising, the currents, the oceans are 3 degrees warmer than they're supposed to be. We had earthquakes. Oh, Mike, since you and I were on, the Coast Plate had an earthquake.
I know.
Can we talk about that?
Boy.
What did you think when you seen it?
Well, I knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
And I'd been watching it, and boy, that's just not good. That's not good. Because the Coast Plate, once the Coast Plate is hit, and we see a reaction in Mexico, of a volcano, right, in Mexico, then those in the East Coast, I'm telling you, they're going to notice the animals are going to start changing. The smells are going to come from the ocean, and people will probably say, oh, yeah, nothing will happen, but it's going to stink out there, and the birds are going to be gone, and then wham, it's going to happen without warning.
Hey, I heard from people from San Diego when that Coast Plate hit. I did a video. Here's the thing, Mike. You and I talked about this about maybe a week ago. I did a video 2 days before the Coast earthquake saying, hey, you know what, guys? Mike around the world's been telling us this Coast Plate thing, we better watch it. And 2 days later, it hit. Okay, now, I got calls from people from San Diego saying, when we see the volcano, when we see the smoke in when we see the smoke in Mexico, Mike said we need to get out of here. Mike, are we getting close to this?
And if that Coast Plate goes, that's the cork in the champagne bottle. I think it's going to be self-evident. I do.
It's just
self-evident.
So you're saying that fault line that runs along and goes up to Baja California, up to Tijuana, up into San Diego, but you're saying those volcanoes down there in southern Mexico are going to start popping off.
Yeah, they'll see that. The volcanism in Mexico is key, right? Because if the Coast Plate is let's just say if it pops enough, right, it's going to release pressure on the land masses, causing new eruptions will cause so easily. That means the smells are going to start in California. The smells, that's very important.
What are we going to smell? What are we going to?
And the birds do not like those smells, so they're going to fly away from it, right? So yeah, it'll probably be a trash type smell, large sewage trash smell coming from the waters. Yep. Yep. Because that first release, one of the vents is off in the sea. So that smell is going to come from the ocean waters going towards California. And if it starts stinking like that, they need to be alerted that you have too much motion there, right? And that just simply means that those fault lines are under tremendous amount of pressure. Yeah. And with the releasing of the Coast Plate, you're going to have additional plate movement, right?
Yep.
That will relieve enough pressure where the snap will happen, and then it's that'll be.
Well, there's been a ton of aftershocks still happening in Mexico ever since the Coast earthquake of 7.3. It's still going on as we speak. And while that's going on, there's also some serious shaking going on in other parts of the world. Iran had a 5.2 earthquake not long ago, a few hours ago. And I started wondering, and can I ask you a question? What about this earthquake off the coast of Mexico, 3.9? It said from an experimental explosion. Mike, What was that?
Yeah, another one. Huh?
Yeah.
That's the second one, ain't it? That's the second
Yeah.
one.
So wait a minute. What are they blowing up over there? Who's doing that?
Well, we have I still say one of the largest naval battles in history is what the world's about to witness. And when it starts, it'll simply start. But most of the ships are being deployed to protect other ships, right? I mean, it's happening. Nobody has ever seen a deployment like this of all these naval ships out there to sea. And because of the Straits of Hormuz, you have a lot of these naval vessels who are escorting ships from one place to another now, right? So everybody's bringing out their naval forces, and we're going to see them all over the ocean. But nobody can see the submarines, and they're active.
Right. You know they are, and they're nuclear. Obviously, you can't find them.
If a sub was hit underwater, right? They're not going to tell people a sub was hit underwater. They're going to say, we're testing something, because nobody can find out. When people cannot find out the facts, they're going to have a cover story that eases the minds of people. They're not going to tell someone they torpedoed something or a submarine was hit. And that's happened, 4 times in the last 4 years? About once a year.
About once a year.
There's been a submarine hit, which they later on said it was hit, but while it was hit, they said it was something else.
Right.
So they do it every single time.
They're not going to tell the general populace that that we're vulnerable, that our submarines are vulnerable.
What the populace knows, the enemy knows. And so they're not going to report everything. They won't do that.
Now, while this is going on, Mike, we can't ignore the fact that the sun is still very volatile, that the seas are heating up, that this El Nino is real, the rain. Oh, by the way, Mike, you see how much flooding in Texas and flooding now in Arizona?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And people better get ready, because tonight and tomorrow we're going to have the formation of some more things forming, which could be really dangerous, right? We're talking high winds, lots of rains. So there could be a few derechos out there. Conditions are lining up. There's going to be it's going to be a little shakeup happening. I'm praying that no derechos happen, but it looks like they could take place. I hope that people are prepared and ready.
Is it what part of the country? Are we talking the plains, or what?
You're looking at the East Coast. You're looking at near the Great Lakes, up in that area. Okay. Texas is going to have their problem too, and Florida. There's too much heat.
Yeah, I got
and too much moisture. So here's the pattern: at around 10 p.m. or 9 to 10 p.m., you'll notice cloud formation, right? After 10 p.m. to 11 to 1 to so on and so forth, you'll notice cumulonimbus formations. And then they begin to drip. But they're so moist in the atmosphere, this can happen over almost the entirety of the USA, right? It happened today on a small scale, over the entirety of the USA. I know they do not like to admit that, but hey, that's what happened. When it starts to form over the entirety of a nation, we're in trouble, and that water event is close, very close, because if it can drop rain, 4 or 5 inches in an hour everywhere, right? That's how much moisture is in the atmosphere. And the heat has driven the moisture content so far upward, the density in the last, I believe, last 10 days has increased beyond belief.
I can tell you in Florida, Mike, I took the dogs out, and this morning me and Heidi were taking the little dogs out. We're standing out there. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, welcome to the sauna. I mean, it was so hot and humid. It was at 6:30 in the morning. It was just like a sauna. And she goes, well, this is Florida. I said, yeah, but this is like a sauna out here. I mean, the humidity must have been 95%, and the temperature was probably 85 degrees at 6:30 in the morning. And there's no way that you can, you're going to have lightning strikes, and you're going to have all kinds of crazy storms when you have that kind of high humidity. But guess what? Somebody in the chat room just a moment ago said it's 99 degrees. It was 99 degrees in, I think they said in the Dakotas. Let me see. 101 in Colorado today. 99 up there in Idaho.
It's unheard of, right?
It's crazy. You never heard of such a thing.
It's unheard of. And it just so happens that another planet had a 400-degree increase in their temperature too.
What? 103 in Kansas?
Yeah.
What?
Something has been,
Where?
temperatures on other planets, right, have been keeping pace with the temperatures here on Earth. And I should let everybody know that the problem is not all of us. Right?
No, it's not global warming
we have the
by
sun
man.
changing. We got the sun changing. It's changing everything.
So it's not man-made. I mean, come on, guys. If it's man-made, then why is it happening over here on these other planets? There's nobody over there. At least I don't think so.
I think they went there. They went overboard when they did that. That was Al Gore who pushed that agenda. He knows he did.
Yeah. Unless these little green men are really real, but I'm not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it. All right, so Mike, what? As we'll wrap this up tonight, I knew I asked you to come on. It's not normally on a Monday night. It's not like you're not a busy guy with a million things you got going. What is your going in? Of course, Thursday night you'll be back, but in the next 2-3 days, what is your concerns? What should we be praying about? What we should be looking at? Is there any areas that's really a dangerous situation that we should be concerned about?
Well, we got several. Iran is a real problem, right?
Yep.
New York, believe it or not, New York is a real problem because they're going to be ill prepared for their weather events that they'll have. Weather in particular is an issue. And keep your prayers going towards Italy and Spain and all those places. They're going to need some prayer too.
There's because of weather.
That place is near very active. A few active spots that could really just ruin everybody's day over there.
Are you talking about volcanoes? Are we talking about volcanoes?
Yes, yes. And one of the biggest ones is in the ocean. Right now, I can say this. I know that I don't know where, but I do know that we're going to have a waterborne volcano go off, and it's going to cause some real problems somewhere. We have too many in the ocean. They're erupting like crazy, and with some of the behavior of the sun, it's going to feed some of these eruptions. Right, it's going to cause instabilities on the crust of the earth and below, causing a loosening of magma chambers and all sorts of things. So that's something we're just in that season. We're in that season. Tomorrow in particular, I hope people are watching their forecasts. Please watch your forecasts. Please make sure you check your forecasts, just in case some of these derechos start forming and some of these storms start forming, because it's going to cause some damage if they form.
I am circling this, making my notes tonight with you. And weather forecast, please check your forecast. So that was 2 pleases out of Mike's, and I would pay close attention to that and be in prayer and be awake. Especially you said the East Coast, New York, better be very careful. And then of course we're always got an eye on what Iran is doing at this moment, and Italy and Spain. Be careful about volcanic operation, but weather forecast derecho could possibly be incredible in America, because you're saying because of that heat. There's so much heat up there in Idaho and coming down. I mean,
moisture and
heat and wind and
tropical depression right in the Gulf of America, so on and so forth. We got all sorts of things happening tonight.
I'm going to try to go to bed, pray real hard, wake up in the morning, look out at the sky, and then check my weather forecast and do a devotion.
Yes, stay aware of that. Yeah. Please stay aware of that. There have been a lot of people dying in these floods, and they're just not publicizing the death toll from the floods. They're not doing it.
Texas is bad. The floods have been really bad.
Well, Pastor,
you said it. You said it was going to happen.
I knew you kind of... It's bad to know something is forming in a specific direction, but how do you get people, right? There's so much that could be said that on an issue like that, on any issue, I guess it takes a person really, they got to spend time with the Lord and ask the Lord, hey, is this stuff that Mike is saying, is it any relevancy to it? I wish more people would seek the Lord themselves so they can hear directly, because these things that we're going through are preludes to bigger things. that will most certainly will not dodge. We're not going to dodge them. And Texas, my heart goes out to Texas just like it does Italy.
Well, we're going to keep
Just like
our
it
eyes
does
open.
Yeah.
We're going to keep our eyes open, Mike. Thank you for the warnings of this. And thank you for, and really, Mike, thank you tonight for turning on a dime and showing up tonight. Really, I appreciate it.
No problem, Pastor Paul. I missed the last request. I just totally missed it. And I said, right?
I remember
And
that.
so I said, I'm not going to miss this.
No, you turned on a dime. I appreciate you doing it. Well, I didn't know I was going to do it either till things started developing, and I realized, man, we got to ask Mike some questions. We can't wait till Thursday. We may not have time. So, Mike, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Always an honor, Pastor Paul. God bless you.
The honor's mine. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. God bless.
COT's base of operations is right here at thecounciloftime.com. COT has no other outlet or venue. These are other folks who will rebroadcast. Anything COT does is by the main page here at thecounciloftime.com.
Also in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boastful, proud, blasphemous. It takes the grace of God to change us, folks. How can you be saved if you're not willing to repent? And the Lord Jesus Christ said, except you repent, ye shall all likewise perish.